Hey, I had to remember to turn my microphone on. Hey there. Happy first day of April. And of course, I'm not fooling. So, Winnie Anderson here, and I want to dive in and share some tips with you to help make your content and your message extra relevant. You can use these any time of year, I promise. I have some notes here I'm going to be glancing down at, and I have my second monitor over there with some additional notes and references for me. So I'll be glancing all over. So let's dive in. Staying relevant and current to your audience is always a challenge, but it is something we have to step up and achieve in order to capture attention, to be able to draw in new friends, fans, followers, and resonate with our target audience. We as content creators can really struggle with that, and it can lead us to feeling really frustrated and stressed, confused, overwhelmed by everything we could talk about. And then what happens? We don't really do anything. There's plenty of suggestions out there and guru ideas, but I'm going to share with you an easy way that you can make this fun and tie this into things that your audience is already aware of, tuned into, or maybe something that you can bring into their life and their attention that can add a little bit of fun or add some extra powerful information for them. So again, I'm going to be glancing down at my notes so I can stay on track. So remember, marketing is all about helping people decide to buy. It's critical that you educate, but in there, you also have to add a little bit of entertainment and interest so you can capture attention, hold on to it, and help them focus on your message. So one of the big ways that you can do this is something that I have always done because frankly, I thought it was easy. So, and we're all about making things easier, right? And less stressful. So, what you can do is tie your content and message into something that, as I said, your buyers are likely already thinking about, focused on, or that adds a little bit of fun and extra interest into your messaging. And you can use things like seasonal topics, you can use things like holidays and observances, and I'll explain the difference. You can tie into sports when sports are a big topic, like the Super Bowl, March Madness, the tournament time, those kinds of things, or things that are generally in the news. So the difference between holidays and observances are things like, they're not things that you're celebrating. They're things that you are tuning into, that you want, that people are paying more attention to. An observance might be, it's to say that we celebrate Veterans Day. That's not really true. Even though it's a technical holiday, it's more like an observance because, people died. Obviously, millions of people died in wars and giving their lives literally for our country. So that's more of an observance. There's also things like June is observed as National Safety Month. In October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's also Fire Safety Month as well. So there are lots of different observances, and some of them are really fun. Every day there is something that is being honored or recognized that you can tie into your content. I once had a client who owned a restaurant. They were husband and wife team of two chefs, and they owned a restaurant. So we were always looking for something that was, free, that they could leverage to get attention. And I created I won't go into a whole lot of detail about this. I created a fun chocolate contest. So people could submit a dessert recipe, and they could end up getting their dessert based on their recipe on the menu at this restaurant. We did it for the entire month of February because, of course, that's chocolate month, right? So it was loads of fun, got them tons of free publicity. There was just no way they could have ever afforded the attention they got. brought people into the restaurant, which was exactly why we did it. So there's lots of potential benefits with tying into something that's really timely. So you want to start thinking about, boy, what about my message, my content, the work that I do is particularly timely. As I record this, we have a total eclipse coming up, right? It is a week from today, and where I live, 7 miles north of Niagara Falls, is in the arc of totality, I think is what they call it. I think we might be in the dark for a total of 30 minutes. So the overall experience of the eclipse is pretty big here, and we're expecting about 1 million people to be in this particular region, in this little spot to look at the eclipse. So it's a really big deal. We're all talking about the eclipse. Stores are doing tie-ins for the eclipse. My local grocery store has some fun things on sale. They're selling Eclipse brand gum, believe it or not, at a reduced price, Milky Way candy bars. They also have some fun items that are in their bakery. They have a series of cookies that have chocolate and vanilla icing that's dyed yellow, and the scope of cookies shows the progression of the eclipse. Totally clever, really fun, and certainly something great to get people to come in and maybe buy some extra cookies. So there are lots of ways that you can play the eclipse and tie your messaging into it. If you do anything that helps people stand out, right? Maybe you're a branding consultant, an agency. You could talk about shining a light on your brand. You could talk about no longer being in the dark. So there are lots of ways that you can hook around the topic of the eclipse. We've just started the month of April, right? So now we're fully into spring. People are preparing their gardens. I am a big gardener, and I have my whole yard is certified as a backyard habitat to attract pollinators and nature. So I love doing tie-ins around gardening. So the work that I do is all about growing sales and revenue, marketing your business, growth, blooming, right? So I can really tie in. I once wrote a blog post when I worked at an agency, said, will your brand take root this spring? So I've always tied things into spring and gardening and growth. Think about how you can tie into that sort of thing too, if that's a natural for you. The added benefit of this is it's fun, it stimulates your creativity, it's attention getting. Also, you can use it to showcase a little bit about you and your business, your staff, if you have a team that maybe people didn't know. So that helps build some interest and trust, and also helps build the humanity in your business. And of course, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. So you really want to help people get a little bit of a feel for what you're all about and see some elements of your life that you otherwise maybe would not necessarily share, while you're helping people process your message. So give some thought to your topic, to the work that you do, and how can you tie your content and messaging into the eclipse, into space, into spring and the related topics, and make some notes to yourself about how you can do this. You can also work with ChatGPT or your preferred AI tool, Claude, or whatever is the flavor of the moment, and help it give you some ideas. So that's one of the things that AI is super great for. You give it some background and what you want, and it can give you a list of topics. It can break things down into, hey, do a video on this, write a blog post about that, share some tweets about these things. So that can really help save time and help stir the pot if you don't consider yourself really creative. But I promise you, you really are. So how do you come up with these ideas? Monitor the news. That's one thing. You can always use something that's topical and timely and tie it in. That's referred to as newsjacking. For example, if you're a safety person and we just had that horrific bridge collapse in Baltimore, you can talk about safety in your particular industry. That's not being tacky. That's taking something that people are already aware of and thinking about and helping them tie that into something that relates to them. So you do want to think about those kinds of things. Is this really appropriate? Is it not? And of course, if you don't feel that it is, then don't do it. But when there's a breach, for example, a data breach, and if you're in cybersecurity, like I have clients who are, that's a great opportunity because people are thinking about it and they're starting to get worried. You can share, here's some tips so you're not getting that breach, or you minimize the risk, right? Because you can't promise anything to anybody. But so you can monitor the news. You can look for holidays and special observances. So you can plan this out into your calendar, your content calendar. You can search for them along with a broad topic. So if you are into security, safety, risk management, insurance, you can search for holidays and observances around safety, security, all of those kinds of things related to your topic. Everything doesn't have to be work related, as I mentioned. So think of something that speaks to you, to a hobby that you might have, an interest that you have, like I have of the environment and in gardening and birding, and bring that out and tie that into your content as well. Here's an example. So I love to bake. That's another thing that I do, and it is sort of a hobby with me. I love to find new recipes and make things. Pi is always a challenge for me, but there's Pi Day, right? March 14th, 3.14 with all those extra digits is pi. So there's always Pi Day, and you can bake a pie, buy a pie, and share that on in your content. So you want to make sure that it's not all about your business, that there is a social element, especially on social profiles, because hey, it's about social, right? It's social media, not social media. So you can always bring in something that's fun and share a little bit about you personally. So you can also then, of course, share pictures of your pies, I said. So those are some ideas to help you leverage timely topics, create hooks in your content, add a little fun. So think about your content, your subject, the offerings that you have, your audience, and yourself, and think of some ideas for the next few months, this quarter, right? Because we've launched to the second quarter. Think about how you can tie your ideas into the topics that relate to you and your audience. Share them below. Would love to see them. I'll share some ideas as well, and I'll share a picture that I mentioned from my grocery store's weekly ad. All right, so this has been your weekly tip. A real speedy recap. Think about timely topics. What can you tie into your content, and then make the connection for your audience. All right. This has been Winnie Anderson. I am a buyer enablement strategist. I work with service-based businesses to help them nail their message, get it out, amplify it, and connect with more of their ideal clients so they help those people buy faster and easier. I will be here every Monday, at least this quarter, sharing a tip and a strategy. So I hope to see you around. Remember, make some comments, share this if you'd like, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.